everyone. Hello, Lynette. Happy Monday. We are live from Disney's Coronado Resort, and I am so excited to be here. I tried to run away from the leaf blower, so if you hear that in the background, I'm trying to avoid it, but our cast members are hard at work, so I can't be mad about it. But you might recognize from the thumbnail, we have, I think it's Four Bridges, the restaurant across the way. We're gonna start by walking over that way, because it might be a little bit quieter. Hey Shannon, how are you? But yes, let's make the journey. It is a beautiful morning here in Orlando, Florida. It wouldn't be a Monday morning stream without some power washing or leaf blowing, so it's okay. We're just happy to be here. It's a little cooler than I hoped it would be. It is starting to warm up a lot during the day. So if you're down here in Orlando or heading to the parks, definitely dress light. Because during the day it is hot, hot, hot. But in the mornings it's a little bit cooler. Look at the view. We have the Grand Destino Tower there in the back. Hey, Captain Kirk, good morning. Yeah, such a gorgeous resort. I'm so happy to be here this morning. We haven't streamed here in quite some time, so I figure now is the time. And it's so gorgeous. There's so much to see. So thanks for hanging out with us this morning. Appreciate you being here. I know a lot of you are already followers of Adventures by Carney, but if you're not, definitely want to make sure you're subscribed to his channel. He did a late night, not really that late, but an evening resort tour a couple days ago, live. So if you want to check that out, you can as well. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed to him as well. Good morning, the Shamrock Turtle. Hey, Pete Stummy. Andy, good morning. Andy, how we feeling today? We had a fun weekend with Andy and Annette. Oh, I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend and we're ready to start out the week fresh. It's the last day of March. I cannot believe this month kind of flew by for me, honestly. So I am excited for April, to see what April brings. I have so much happening in April, actually. Andy feels like $1 million. Just 1 million? That's it? So much happening in the month of April. I'm excited, looking forward to it. Hey, Peter, good morning. But yes, I'm glad I get to start out the last day of March with all of you. And I'm going to start out my stream the way I usually do and just letting you know this is a judgment-free zone. So I want everyone to feel welcome. I want everyone to feel like if they have a question or they want to post a comment, there is no judgment. I love to respond to the chat. And if you're watching on a replay, of course, leave a comment below and I will answer you as soon as possible. Andy, not trying to be greedy. Pete is going to go live from Epcot later today. I don't know if we know a time yet. Depending on the time, I might be there as well. So definitely want to check out Peter's channel and make sure... Oh, I'm so sorry, Peter. And make sure you're subscribed to Adventures by Carney. Yes, we are White Lotus fans, so we'll be watching that later today. So I am going to talk a little bit about the book that I've been reading. that I'm absolutely in love with. It is much more than I had expected it to be. And if you took a look at the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about the book Abundance, The Path to Inner Wealth by Deepak Chopra. And if you want to see that full title and author, you can check out the description below. And it is down there. But we've been talking about it over the last couple of streams. I'm almost finished with the book, so today is probably going to be maybe the last time we have that talk about the book. Next week, I'll have a different book. Not sure what book yet. Not sure where we're going to be streaming live from, but we go live every Monday morning at 6:35, so make sure you're subscribed as well and turn on the bell for all notifications. But I'm so happy everyone is here, starting out the day strong. You took time out of your Monday, out of your week to start on a positive note, right? You're making time for yourself. And I was really doing a lot of thinking this morning, and I feel like as human beings, we're all very, very judgmental of ourselves. We're very hard on ourselves. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I feel like a lot of the time we don't acknowledge all of our successes that we have, or the little things that we've done throughout the weekend or the week prior. And we kind of focus on the things that maybe we didn't do, or some things that maybe we regret or feel like we should have done better. But what I want to do is I'm going to turn back to this beautiful view of the Gran Destino Tower, and for a few seconds I'm just going to leave you in silence, but I want you all to reflect on, what are some things that went well for you last week? Some things that you did well, that you're proud of yourself for. Because I don't want to focus on what you didn't do, or what you did wrong, or what you perceived to do wrong. Focus on what did you do right. And silently or in the chat, you can definitely share it, but celebrate your successes. So I'm going to be silent for a few seconds, but I want you to think and reflect on all the things that you did well. Good morning, WDW Stream Finder. Thanks for being here. Hey, Lady Kirk. Pete Stummy says, I think a tour of Coronado and learning with Law is better entertainment than any colored lotus. Thank you, Pete Stummy. All right. So we're going to keep walking. Yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful resort. I love when I stream here, and like I said, I haven't done this in a while, so I'm super excited to take you guys along with me. And I know we're having more people continue to join the live stream and also watch on the replay, so if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that like button. It helps get the stream out to more and more people, helps the YouTube algorithm, and it just makes me smile. So if you haven't already, please hit that like button. I appreciate you. And if you've seen the stream before, you know there's something with me and birds. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a love-hate thing. But I've grown an appreciation of birds. So we'll see what kind of birds and other wildlife we come across during the stream. Last week's stream, I felt like I almost got attacked by a crow in the morning. That was exciting. I'm glad I caught that on camera. But now you can all see that, there's something with me and birds. I don't know. It's a recent development since I've been living here in Florida. But over the past couple of years, I don't know, birds are just getting way too close to me. And you all got to see that firsthand. So yeah, so Pete says, that's a good way to start the week, by reflecting on things that went well previously. Thank you for that perspective. Of course. Lynette says, with your words of wisdom, I was able to accomplish a lot last week. I love that. So good to hear. If you feel like sharing in the chat, I would love to hear. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we always, as human beings, we're very hard on ourselves. And I think just kind of flipping that script a little bit and kind of shifting our mindset from that negative way of thinking to like, what went well? What did I do well? Because wherever you focus your energy, that's where you're going to expand and amplify. So you want to focus on the things that went well, so more of that will continue. So the reason why I was talking about birds is because it sounds like a flamingo is over here. It's such a loud, squeaky bird sound. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the stream, but we're getting closer to it. And what I really like about this resort is it's like, it's dark in the morning, but you know that you're safe because you're in Disney. But it's so peaceful. All right, and like I said, we're going to talk about the book Abundance. And I always mention this, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record, but I'm bringing to you my perspectives on the book, my cliff notes or spark notes, as you will, on, you know, what I've gotten from the book. So it doesn't mean that, you know, you should take it as truth, or, you know, as face value, but wow, okay, where is this bird? We're just gonna hang here for a second, but I always say, take what resonates with you and leave the rest, right? It's my perspective of what I'm taking from the book. Maybe you'll read it and get something entirely different from the book. And again, I am no expert. What? I think it's flying away. I need to know what kind of bird that is. It just flew away. That is wild stuff. Shannon said, I used to save things for the weekend, but I was getting too overwhelmed, so I made a point to do one thing each night during the week. It was as simple as hanging some pictures on my office after work. Very satisfying to chip away. I love that, Shannon. That's a great piece of information, because yeah, if you leave everything for the weekend, it becomes very, very easy to procrastinate, right? And just say, oh, that's too much for me to do. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it in a few hours. And then you don't really get around to doing it. But if you make it into small bite-sized pieces and kind of chip away at it throughout the week, of course, more is going to be accomplished and you're not going to feel as overwhelmed. Love that. Love it, love it. Yeah, the bird sounds like a pterodactyl for sure. But that was fun. I just went towards the bird sound. Hope you all enjoyed. All right, so like I said, I took some things from the book, and we talked about last week how this book mentions money in the beginning of the book, but knowing this author and knowing just the whole concept of abundance, it's much more than money and wealth. And after you get through the first couple of chapters, kind of focuses on the chakras, right? And going through each of those. So each chapter, from I think it's like chapter 3 or something, to the end of the book, is really focused on each of the chakras. So, and then, you know, what the chakra does and how that creates abundance in your life when you're, you know, becoming aware of the things that you're doing. And if you need to kind of like open up that chakra and like heal some things, it talks about some meditations that you can do with that as well. So I really like that. If you're someone who is not really open to the idea of meditation or manifesting, I feel like maybe, you know, if you're a veteran to my channel, you are somewhat open to that idea because I talk about it a lot. But that's really what the book kind of focuses on, is your mindset, being mindful, meditations, things like that. And it's just a different way of thinking for some people. So I will just, I don't want to say caution because it's not like, ooh, dangerous, but I will just let you know that that's kind of where the book is focused on. So if you're someone who is kind of new to that, just be open to that idea and take it for what it is. It doesn't mean that you have to necessarily adopt all of the teachings from the book, but just keep an open mind. You never know what will come of that. So in talking about the book, they mention that there are emotions that you need in order to lead a successful life, and emotions that you don't necessarily need, right? We're human beings, so we have a bunch of emotions at any given moment throughout the day. And sometimes we don't recognize like the layers of emotions that we have. And specifically, I'm going to talk about anger because in the book, they really focus on I guess I would say like the levels of anger and your intention behind that. So if you use anger with a negative intent, this transforms anger into something dark and threatening. But like I said, we're all human beings, right? We all have a range of emotions. We're all allowed to experience anger. That's just part of who we are. We're going to experience that emotion many times in our life. But it's what you do, it is what you intend on doing with that anger that, you know, will kind of dictate how it's received in the universe. Right? And like I said, if you use anger with negative intent, it's going to transform anger into something dark and threatening. So some people use anger and take it a step further by attacking us or trying to dominate. Okay? And this intention says that you don't count, meaning the other person, you're not like validating them as a human. All right? And sometimes people do this without realizing. And that's why this book kind of talks about, okay, getting clear on what are your intentions, right? Where are you coming from? And just being more mindfully aware of your emotions and how others perceive them. So if this intention comes across, right, that the other person doesn't count, that person over time will kind of harden their heart, right, in order to defend themselves from the next time that person lashes out in rage. Like, this is what's going to happen over time. So maybe you know someone or you've experienced something like this in the past where like you're almost desensitized from, you know, what has gone on in your life. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, but that's how you're coping with it, right? What a beautiful, quiet pool. I'm a big fan. Look at this. The book also talks about how most people feel ill at ease emotionally, and they try to react to a strong emotion of anger, fear, or agitation by trying to get rid of it. Okay, so this is something to also keep in mind. When people, how do I word this? When people have these strong emotions or are very sensitive to the actions of others or the behaviors of others, right? And they feel fear, they feel anger, they feel agitated or irritated in some way. They're trying to get rid of this feeling. It's not a comfortable feeling. And we've all had these feelings before, right? It's almost like they compare it to like hot potato, right? We've played that game when we were kids, right? It's, you have the potato and you're passing it around, trying to get rid of it. You don't want to be caught with it when, I think it's like the music stops or whatever the case may be, right? So that's what they're saying that some people tend to do with this intense like anger or aggravation or fear. They're trying to put it and get rid of it, but by doing that, they're giving it and pushing it onto others, whether it's intentional or not. Right? And it's almost like either placing it on the other person, that projection, or even, I think we're going to go this way, or even just blaming the other person for how they're feeling. And instead of taking responsibility from the predicament that they're in, blaming someone else enables them to absolve themselves, I guess, and clear away the guilt at the same time. So, does that kind of make sense? It's how they explain it in the book. So trying to get rid of this anger, trying to get rid of it, and putting blame on another person is going to have them get rid of any guilty feelings that they have. The sun's starting to come up. It's getting a little bit brighter here. This is such a great view. I love being by the water and just having the tower in the background. So beautiful. And the people that do this, right, they think that nothing that goes wrong is their fault. They're like, well, now I'm putting the blame on this other person, again, either intentionally or not, and they don't feel guilt. They don't feel like anything is their fault. It is all the other person's fault. And there are some tactics of the quote unquote passing it along, right? That hot potato behavior. So these people either attack and their anger is directed at someone else. And then in return, the other person feels attacked. Blaming. So you are implicitly acknowledging that you are weak and the other person is stronger. So that's what people, they don't realize that they're doing that sometimes when they're blaming someone else. Kind of shows that they are weak and can't handle it. So they're just putting that blame on the other person. And that other person is the stronger one that can kind of handle it. So you're asking them to kind of shoulder that burden that you can't carry or you don't want to. And again, I'm not saying that any of these like coping mechanisms are accurate, but this is what they discuss in the book as to, you know, why people do certain things. And I think it's important because the more you are aware of these types of behaviors, whether you are the person doing these behaviors or you're on the receiving side, just having this awareness and being able to recognize this is really just very validating on both ends. Right? So if you're someone on the receiving end, you're able to, recognize it and know, hey, this has nothing to do with me. at all. And you can kind of set those boundaries and talk through it. But if you're someone that is doing these behaviors, now having this awareness, maybe you can catch yourself in the moment. Maybe it's something that you never realized that you were doing until this moment. And hopefully are able to put some blocks in place so you don't get to this point. And another one of these like behaviors is also clinging, which can be looked at as like dominating or controlling. So I know that like anger is a very layered emotion, and getting to the root of, okay, what is actually making me angry? Or is it anger that I feel first? Or is it something else like guilt or fear? Because typically those emotions are underlying in the anger, right? So my challenge to you is the next time you feel a sense of anger, right? Pay attention to what's going on in your body. And I talked a little bit about this on the group coaching call for my Patreons on our last call. And it's really about identifying what are some things that are happening in your body physically, right? What does your breathing look like? How does your heart feel? Are you sweating? Are you clenching your teeth? Like, what is going on in these moments that you're feeling anger, right? So being able to identify that before you start expressing your anger is a great way of kind of catching yourself and being reflectant on, okay, why am I feeling this way? Is it anger that I'm feeling? And if it is, like, how can I express it in a way that is not going to hurt people around me? Because our bodies feel it first, right? It shows up in our bodies physically before it gets to our brain and we have that awareness. Hey, Kelsey, good morning. We're gonna pop into the tower here because I wanna take a look. But it's gorgeous here. It's a little bit cloudy and foggy this morning. There's a lot of humidity in the air. Not necessarily warm, but it's just, the air is very damp this morning. So hopefully we get a good glimpse of the sunrise. But I do want to pop inside really quickly. And I know I mentioned our Patreon call. So if you are on the top 2 levels of my Patreon, every month you get a free 30-minute group coaching call. Last month I did a little bonus because I had so much I wanted to talk about. So we did 2 coaching calls last month. But if you're on the top 2 tiers, you have that access. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can go to patreon.com/learningwithlaw. And then you'll also get discounts on 60-minute private coaching calls with me. So if that's something you're interested in, you can also send me an email or a message through Patreon as well. Ooh, I'm excited to go inside. It looks so beautiful. And I love this little faux grass area as well. It's so nice. But whenever I come in the morning, the chairs are always wet. Can't have a seat. Here we go. Grand Destino Lobby. And if you have never been here before, you should definitely check it out because it is absolutely gorgeous. They have some breakfast here. They have really good coffee, apparently. Captain Kirk is giving his seal of approval. Love that. I'm just gonna try something for 1 second. Hey, Christina, how are you? Hi, do you mind if I just leave this here for a couple minutes? Please?
Yeah. If you just want to set it up here on the counter so that way I can like see it.
Yeah. I'll be 2 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Sorry about that, guys. We are back in business. Yes, it was a very nice cast member for sure. Let's go upstairs and check out the views. Lisa's definitely a fave for coffee here. Love that. I mean, come on. Hi, Peter. Good morning. One of my favorite entryways. Yes, Peter, I did mention that earlier, but if anyone wants to see what the club level lounge looks like, check out our live stream from a few days ago. Yeah, 3 Peters in the chat. I'm like, oh, so many Peters. But I just love this lobby. I think it's so bright and colorful and fun. I'm a huge fan. And then you get such great views of the fountain outside. Super cool. Don't want to get into an elevator because it's not good for the stream, but we're going to do a little swoop around and head back out. See if we can see the sunrise. But I appreciate you all being here. Does anyone have something that they're looking forward to either this week or this month that they would like to share, since it is the last day of the month? I have so much happening in April. I feel like every weekend there's something else going on, but it's all fun stuff. But I know definitely going to be busy. It's going to be a busy month, but I'm so excited. So many things I'm looking forward to. Actually, this Friday, I'll share my thing that I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a good weekend because I am hosting a little wellness gathering at my place, and I'm going to have some people from my gym come, and I'm going to serve like really healthy hors d'oeuvres and just some like fun non-alcoholic beverages. And what I'm trying to do is, next to each food item and drink item, I'm going to have a little card that gives like what the benefit or like what vitamins are in that food or whatever the case may be, what benefit it's going to give to you. So, when you're eating it, you're intentional about, oh my goodness, like I'm getting a boost of antioxidants eating this. Like you feel good about it eating it. It tastes good. Like I'm just trying to kind of make everyone just feel good all around. We're going to have good conversation. We're going to talk essential oils. Just going to be a really, really fun night. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then in the morning, I'm actually going to head over to the Bach Tower Gardens. And there's a 5K that I'm going to be doing there. So if you're not from Florida, or if you've never heard of the Bach Tower Gardens, definitely check that out because it's such a beautiful place to visit, and they do host like little events and things that you can do as well. So that's where I'm going to be this weekend. I'm so excited. Let's see. Yes, Christina, it is a gorgeous hotel. Lynette is excited about the meetup in April. Yes. Peter says, today is my nephew's birthday and I get to see him this weekend. Woo, that's right. Little Liam. Lady Kirk says, ABC meetup and Easter. Yes, happy birthday to that precious little guy. Kelsey says, this weekend is the Run Disney 10-miler. Oh, I forgot about that. Don't know if that's exciting, but it's happening. Then excited for the meetup. Yes, definitely. Oh, the 10-miler. I've done that before. I really liked it. I didn't realize it was this weekend. Christina's getting a new fridge. Love that. I love when you get like a new appliance or furniture item because then you get to like stock it the way that you want. That fresh fridge feeling, and get just put everything in it the way that you want to. It's nice and clean. I get that. I'm over 30, so I understand the joys of a new fridge. Captain Kirk, lunch and learn with Law. Love it. Love it, love it. Lots of really exciting things. Robert D is getting a new fridge too. Look at that. Love it. We're getting new appliances this month. So as we come into a new month this week, just remember and focus on your successes, right? We're always so hard on ourselves. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and that's okay to an extent, right? But there's a lot more stress in the world. We don't need to add to that stress. So let's be mindful moving into April and kind of focus on the things that are going well, right? We all sound like we have a lot of really fun and exciting, positive things happening in April. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on celebrating our successes. Like, there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's okay. People do it all the time, and they're still around to talk about it. But I feel like some people almost feel guilty doing that. And really, we shouldn't. We should be focusing on what are the positive things that I'm doing in my life. Shannon says, I'm getting together with new groups of friends. It's hard making friends in your mid-30s. I totally hear that, Shannon. Totally hear that. And when I first moved down to Orlando, it was very hard for me to kind of find like who my people were, right? And it took me a few years, but I really wanted to focus on my health and fitness. I joined a gym, made some connections there, and my goal really, yes, I wanted to focus on improving my body and just being healthier all around. But I also went in with the intention of like, I'm going to find new friends here because we all have that common goal. So maybe something that you could try is like thinking about what are your hobbies and interests, and can you join maybe like a club in the area that is, focusing on these things. Like if you're artistic and you like to draw or paint, are there any opportunities around you that have that? Or if you're into music, what sorts of events can you show up to? I know that different towns and cities have like meetups and things like that. So see what's available to you based on your own interests. And if there isn't anything that you're interested in, why don't you create your own? Because I'm sure that there are other people that have similar interests that are looking for something like that. So that's my challenge to you, because I know it'll open some doors and you'll meet some people with common interests, and you'll at least have that. But I totally understand that feeling, Shannon. I get it. I wonder if it's going to be overcast all day, because then the parks will at least be a little bit more bearable, because it is supposed to heat up later today. There are some areas I want to check out, so we're going to walk this way. And more things I want to talk about within the book as well. So I think once we get into the pretty area, we'll start talking about that. Peter says, I'm going to start DFA, Disney Friends of America. We will put a chapter in every city. Then we will all have a place in our local cities with like-minded people. Brilliant. Haha, pipe dream, but wouldn't that be fun? Yeah, absolutely. You gotta follow your passions. That's something else I've learned in these books as of recently, because I've been reading a lot about like wealth and abundance, and we always hear like follow your passions, right? It's just like a thing to say, but if you actually sit back and think about it, if you do things that you're passionate about, that make you happy, that bring you joy, you're going to see, new opportunities for making money are just going to be there, and they're going to appear. And I read something this morning that I really loved too about opportunities, right? If you weren't ready, the opportunity wouldn't be there. So just something to think about. I think that things in nature and in life, there's no coincidences, there's no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. So if you're given that opportunity and you're not sure, you need to take that opportunity. The universe is telling you you're ready. Captain Kirk is giving me the weather report, partly cloudy with a high of 89 degrees today. Thank you. Lynette says, would be great. We find Disney people all the time. Hey, Lee, you're welcome. Yeah. Everybody likes your idea, Pete. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, we got some ducks over here. Gotta love some Disney ducks. Oh, they're meeting up with this little group of ducks. Oh, okay. Maybe they're not friends. I've been seeing a lot of ducks lately. Peter and I on our balcony have been checking out all the ducks after the rain. I feel like they all start coming out. Oh, God. I was like, Pete, what are you talking about? And now I get it. Pete says, still mad that Don stole his piece of pretzel bun from last night's dinner rush. This is about ducks we are talking. This is the ducks we were talking about. Yes, I got that now. I was like, who's Don? Is it Donald Duck? Oh my gosh. So I probably should have came here earlier because I like the little strings of lights. That would have been nice when it was dark, but it's still gorgeous. Still gorgeous. Looks like we're by the casitas, part of the resort. Yeah, Kelsey, don't know if I'm ready for the heat this weekend in Florida. Yeah, it is definitely heating up. The morning is a great time if anybody wants to go outside and do a workout or get a run in. The mornings are great, nice and cool, but the peak of the day is very, very hot. This little fountain, love it. Peter says, casitas during sunrise and sunset are magical. That is for sure. Got some beautiful flowers. And I wish I finished the chapter, but I'm going to give you some information that's part of the next chapter of the book Abundance that I've been reading. So it's going to sound a little incomplete, but we're going to just add some personal experience to the mix. But we talked about in the book being the observer of your life. Okay, so that has to do with like witnessing yourself. Ooh, hold on, there's a little bunny rabbit. I'm getting close, so he's probably gonna hop. Oh, he's eating the grass. That's so cute. It's like frozen in fear right now. I'm just gonna hang out here for a little bit. So it talks about when you're in the zone, right? It's a feeling of like being and standing outside yourself and watching yourself do something. That is what they call being in the zone. And that is, that's when you're like perfectly aligned. You know that you're doing something that you love. You're kind of blocking everything else out of your life and kind of being in that blissful state of mind. Most people on a daily basis are in autopilot, right? We just do these habitual actions, whether they're good or bad, doing them over and over again because it's something that is easy for us, right? And trying to recognize that and break apart from that is something that's going to push you outside your comfort zone, and then maybe even possibly have you find something that's going to allow you to experience like that elevated state of bliss. Pete says, you can tell because the evenings were always below 70 until this week. Now even the coldest part of the night is 68 to 72. Pete's tummy says, bring on the heat. I'm ready for warm Florida sun. 15 days. Love it. Peter says, Easter's coming. Could be scoping out Easter. Could be scoping out egg spots. That's very true, Peter. Yes. We got the Easter bunny here. How cute. And I have to say the closest that I've felt to being like in the zone is usually, I feel like Peter would know this, but usually when I'm exercising, right? And I'm doing some sort of like cardio workout. I feel like I am so aligned and in the zone that I don't even feel like I am in my body, but I'm like watching myself do it. Peter says, sorry, I'm on a delay. My silly comments don't hit as well while you are actually motivating and helping others. Oops, stay in the zone. Thank you, Peter. You're such a nut, but I love you. Peter says, it's while I'm on stage or filming something I am proud of. Absolutely. Love that so much. That's when you're in the zone. I'm obsessed with this rabbit. I really don't want to move right now. There's so much more to see, but how cute. right under this beautiful tree. Like, I just want to set up with a blanket and a book and just sit here. I could do that all day and be perfectly content. It's probably a nice spot at night too, like to just come down and sit, maybe have a little picnic. Stay with the rabbit. Stay with the rabbit. Anyone else want to share when they feel like they're in the zone? Yes, I remember that, Peter. So again, on Peter's channel, Adventures by Carney, they did a duck watch. And the ducks, they were little baby ducks with the mama. And Pete just followed them around Epcot. It was really the most wonderful thing. Yes, Pete says, I'm in the zone, knowing I'm teaching kids to play and learn music and also performing with the band and running the ferry to Fire Island. I love that. Lynette says, I'm in the zone when I am doing an art project or drawing. Have to get back into that. Yes, and we talked about that with our group coaching call as well. I love that, Lynette. Just being in just a complete meditative state almost, right? When you're creating, when you're doing something creative, it gets you into like this alignment, right? And you feel like this is where I belong, this is what I'm meant to do, and you're in the zone. Fire Island is fire. All right, I know Peter wants me to stay with the rabbit, but he's just eating grass. I want to leave him be. There's so much more to see. All right, so bye, Thumper. We'll see you soon. He's just having himself a good time. All right, here we go. Pete's tummy says, I'm very blessed, as this coming summer will be year 30 for me. Love that. Look at this though. Come on with this fountain. I love this area. Super cool. Have a little seat on the bench. Pete's stummy says 30 years on the bay, but also been on the bay since I was a kid on my dad's sailboat. I love that. Yeah. Pete's stomach says this area was my favorite when we stayed there. Yeah, it's super like quiet, even though you're kind of enclosed on the top levels and there might be like an echo, but it's so quiet in the morning. Well, it looks like it's a little cloudy this morning. I don't know if we're going to see a really great sunrise, but at least we got to take a look at such a gorgeous resort. I haven't been here in so long. So I'm really glad you guys came along for the walk. I appreciate you. And a big, overwhelming theme of this book that I'm reading for abundance is really just tapping into just being aware, right? Whether it's being aware of your emotions, your intentions, your actions, your behaviors, your thoughts. It's all about awareness, because if you're not aware of what you're doing, feeling, thinking, then you're going to continue that pattern, whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's not a bad thing, but we can all improve and grow in various ways. But I think tapping into that awareness, being mindful, is really going to help us to identify things that maybe we want to modify and improve, or areas that we want to grow in. So if you take one thing away from the stream today, I would really think about, being more mindful, whether that's trying to, focus on your breath in times of stress or anxiety, whether it's, implementing a new habit into your life, or focusing on that creative time, getting yourself in the zone, whatever the case may be. Really focusing and kind of tapping into that awareness is really going to help us as we move into the month of April. Lynette, thank you. It's been really nice and informative. Love that. That's why I'm here. Oh, we have the nice music playing in the background. Definitely different than the leaf blower when we started the stream. Lee says, forgot how gorgeous it is here. Thank you for sharing it and your thoughts with us, Law. Intend a great week with everybody. Be blessed. Thank you so much. And I love the little seated area down here. You can come out and have your breakfast outside. This is a perfect morning to just eat outside without being too hot or the sun in your eyes, right? And just look out on this beautiful lake. Take a few minutes before the hustle and bustle of your day. I still have yet to eat at this restaurant over there. Pete and I tried to come right after I finished 75 Hard for the second time. We tried to come here and it wasn't open yet. They were doing some, I think it was like a private sangria making something. And we didn't get to go there, but I really would love to just have a dinner right on the lake there and just enjoy. Yeah, one day. Because I love this resort in the dark, whether it's the early morning or in the evening. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Shelby Spring says, Lauren, my word of the week is blessings. I love that, Shelby. Yeah, Pete says, it's too late for Lauren, but a great hack is going after the parks. They stay open until midnight with a full kitchen. That is actually a really great hack. Thank you, Captain Kirk. Thanks for being here. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me this morning with another Monday morning live stream. We go live every Monday morning at 6:35. Just gives me enough time to grab my espresso from the gym and head on over to a resort. So I want to thank you, Peter. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being open with me this morning. I was seeing a lot of really great conversation in the chat, so I appreciate that. And I think it really helps to create the community, and it helps each other to kind of gain some new insights too, right? Like I said, I am not the expert, and there's a lot of times where I'm learning from you guys too. So you just being vulnerable and open with me and each other is so powerful and important. So I appreciate you and I thank you for doing that. And if you're somebody that kind of just watches in the background or watching on a replay, that's fine too. I really hope that you're gaining something from this experience. So I appreciate you and I acknowledge you and I thank you. Just wanted to remind you to hit that like button if you haven't already. Consider subscribing and maybe even become a Patreon as well. I have different levels, all depending on your budget. You can check that out at patreon.com/learningwithlaw. And yeah, leave a message in the comments if you can, letting me know where you'd like to see me go live from next week. I'm super excited. And I'll be reading a new book, so look out for that. Not sure what book yet, but you know it's going to be something that is super inspiring and motivational, so definitely stay tuned for that. Oh, if you are a Patreon, we are going to be doing the group coaching call, I believe, on the 21st at 6 p.m. So mark your calendars for that. All right, I hope you all have a wonderful week and wonderful last day of March, and enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great one. I'll see you all real soon. Bye-bye. Oh, and Peter's going live today from Epcot. We don't know the time, but that's why you should subscribe and turn on the bell for all notifications.